head. So I added my p5.js to my new pen that I've created. I'll scroll this up. I need a setup function, so function setup. I remember that anytime I'm trying to mess with 3D, I need a 3D canvas. So create canvas. Let's have it be 500, 500, and WebGL. That's what gives us our 3D part, I think. WebGL, function draw. Here's the fun stuff. We are going to deal with spheres. Is that right? Let's see what happens. Go. Maybe I'll shrink my axes a bit so we can see a bit more code. So my canvas is a 300 by 300 box. Okay, maybe that's better. So right now the fill is in black. It's kind of small. Maybe I'll make it a bit larger. Boop. Okay, so once we zoom in, you see those lines that give it that 3D presence. Your screen is flat, it's 2D. These lines gives us the impression of that third dimension. Some kind of depth is illustrated. Okay, so my goal now is we have the head. Perhaps we'll fill it to be black colored. Let's see what happens when we do this. Save and run. Doop. Now it just looks like a circle. Perhaps I'll fill it grayish so we can still have like some dimension. Yeah, that's a little better. So next up is we want to like add like one of his ears over here and over here. So then we'll need to translate things. Let's say if this is like where this x is, this is 0, 0, 0. So if I wanted to go up and over, notice I move positively in the x direction, let's say like 100 pixels, and then we move negatively for the y direction. So let's try positive for the x, that moves to the right, up the screen, negative 100, none in the z-axis just yet. And then I'm going to draw a tinier sphere of like 30, and let's see, run. Boop. Kinda, I guess. Maybe I'll dial it back a bit more. A little bit too up. This should be a bit bigger. That looks like an awkward ear. That's not proportioned. Getting there. And just like before with 3D drawing, it's very similar to your 2D drawing. You tweak things till it looks the way you want. Neat. Okay, good enough for 1 year. And here's the weird part. After you do your second shape, you're like, okay, I want to now translate. And now I'm thinking about that third, or the third circle, or the left ear. I want it to go in this position. And here's a very common mistake. My origin's here. I go now over left, which is negative x direction, and still I'm going in the negative y direction. So just like before, I'm going to translate negative 90, and I'm going to go negative 80 over. No change in the z direction. I draw my sphere, which is going to be a size 50, and I'm expecting right now the sphere to show up over here. That's the left ear for this Mickey Mouse head. Save and run. But how strange, it ended up here. That's not what I expected. It's like halfway in the middle. What the heck's going on? This example, when you try to draw three shapes, you're composing or putting together three objects. Your origin for the first shape is right here. But 3D shapes are always drawn at a new origin. And when you translate, that shifts over your entire origin. So the new origin, the new 0, 0, 0, is actually way up here. 90 pixels in the x direction, and then 80 upwards. So that's the origin the third ear is going off of. So if we think, sorry. So if we think, gosh, darn it. Okay. If we think about the translations, this is happening 90. Notice it's returned back to its origin. And then you go another 80 over, it went up another 80 pixels. So that's double. That's why we see it off the screen. A good habit for drawing these things is like pairing up your translations. Let's have it go back to that original translate, the original origin in the center of your screen. So that looks like every translations will now be paired. I'm going to undo that going right by going 90 pixels left. I undo that going up by going 80 pixels down, and my 0. And then at the very end, I should have that ear be in the right spot. Ba-doop. And thus we have that Mickey-like structure. But of course we're not done yet. I'm still hanging on there. I want to introduce some kind of rotation along some kind of axes. And if you found some code from like p5.js, this will allow it to rotate ever so slightly along the x-axis if I did things right. Help me out. Is frame count like lowercase? I want it to spin a bit. Ooh, okay. So the syntax has slipped my mind. This isn't the rotation I want, so I go to p5.js, rotate x. I go and borrow some code. Milliseconds. I want something with frame count. It looks like I used it, right? Oops. Strange. Okay, maybe I'll just borrow this. Now let's see what happens. Darn. Perhaps we won't get rotation going in this demo today. Rotate Y. Z. Darn. So, perhaps I'll go over rotation tomorrow. That'll be the end of this thing. I hope it's useful. The time is yours to code. There's about 30 minutes. Work on your